He says, do not accept those plates from your mother. Do not take those plates. You give them back because she doesn't want to cook anymore, he tells me. She doesn't want to do like the holidays anymore. And she's trying to get you to do it. You still have to keep the family together. You still have to do the holidays and your girls rely on you. He says, and know that every holiday that you do, anytime that you cook, anytime that you make things, your husband's still with you. And you say all the time, I feel like I don't have to cook anymore because he's not here. And your husband says to me, he goes, how do you think I feel? I'm there and with you when I hear these statements. Your father keeps saying to me, that's my daughter. Go over to there. Don't forget about my daughter. Don't forget about my daughter. He's right behind you. And he's such a sweet man when I'm connected with him. First of all, who are you here with?
This is my sister, Paula, and this is my mom.
Well, first of all, I'm happy that you're here. Know that your father's here when I'm connecting. And also coming through with your father, I also have a child that's here that passed as well.
Well, I had miscarriages. I've had some miscarriages and I always wonder.
Yeah, know that soul would be with your dad. Because when I'm connecting, he showed me that baby that's there, allowing me to know that soul is at peace. Now, first of all, right away, I gotta tell you, your dad is such a jokester when I'm connected with him inside. Because he said to me, he goes, Matt, tell my family that I didn't make it to heaven. Tell them I'm in the other place. I'm like, I'm not telling them that. I'm like, are you kidding?
That's my dad. We missed him. Laugh at the party.
Yeah.
When I'm connecting with him, that was his personality. That's what he was like here in this world. And he was always playing jokes on you when he was alive. And he's doing that now. By the way, he's also teasing you because he knows that you kept clothes of his here in this world. And he says to me, Matt, he goes, can you tell them that they can wash my clothes? He goes, tell them they're going to keep them, at least wash them. And he's laughing about that.
Because I told mom to keep all his shirts. I wanted all his clothes. I did just tell my mom that.
That's crazy. So know that he knows that. But I know that you're here for a reason because he's also telling me. And he says to me that you're very upset with the doctors and nurses that were taking care of your dad because you feel as though that they missed critical things with him in his health. And that maybe if things were caught earlier, that he would still be alive.
Yes,
I agree.
And that's why he's here. Because your dad says to me, Matt, all joking aside, he goes, I'm here to talk to my family because they feel like that I did not get justice with my passing. Yes, when I'm connecting with him, I know that your dad was a strong man. And I know when I'm connecting with him that he also had his fair share of health issues here in the physical world. Mm-hmm. I also know that you were bringing him back and forth to doctors before he had died. And you were trying to figure out what was actually going on with your dad. Yes. And at first, he keeps telling me we went through this for a year. It was like a year's time that I see you like bringing him to doctors and like saying something's wrong. And everyone basically not really paying attention to what was going on with your dad.
Right. Yes, true.
Now, I'm going to bring something up that's a little bit personal, but I got to tell you everything that he tells me.
Okay.
Did your dad have an issue with peeing or with urination?
Yes.
He tells me that's where it started.
It did.
He kept telling me I couldn't pee. He goes to me, Matt, I had two main issues. Like, all right, tell me. He goes, I couldn't pee and I couldn't hear, he tells me.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
I see all of a sudden his organs starting to shut down on him. And he shows me about going into like a multi-system failure when I'm connecting with him.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And he shows me infection after infection after infection.
I knew it was an infection.
Yeah.
He tells me. And your dad tells me, Matt, he goes, my family brought me to the doctors thinking I was going to be okay. I was going to get better. He said, then all of a sudden he shows me it's like he slipped into a coma and he wasn't coming out.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
He says to me that, first of all, he says that he wants to thank you all for demanding to see him and to spend time with him before he died. And what I want you to know is this. Your father was an amazing man because even though he had so much going on within his body, he still acted and talked and looked so good on the outside.
He did.
And he tells me that that's one of the hardest things that you're all dealing with is that he looked so good. He had such a presence about him. Mm-hmm. But there was so much that was happening internally with him that you couldn't see and that he couldn't see. And he says to me, Matt, he says, the one thing that I want my family to know is that I didn't lie to them. I told them the truth because you wonder, was he sicker than he thought and he just didn't tell us? Did it feel good?
You do say that.
Oh, I know. He says to me, I didn't. He goes, I didn't know. He's also telling me Tom. Is there Tom or Thomas?
Thomas that works for him.
And I have a cousin, Thomas, that just passed away.
Oh, that's going to be who it is because he tells me that he met Thomas in heaven.
Oh, okay.
So if that was your cousin that just died, please know that he's also there on the other side when I'm connecting. I'm also hearing Peter as well. He's telling me this Peter.
Pete Sellers, a friend of his.
But that soul had died, correct?
Yes.
Know that soul is there and with him. And all I smell, I don't know if he was the smoker here in this world, but all I keep smelling is smoke when I'm connecting.
That's my dad. He was hiding smoke.
He's showing me him smoking with these people on the other side. He says, Matt, let them know that I'm okay and let them know that I'm there. But I have to come to you as his wife because he says to me that since his passing, you've been having such a hard time living life. And I know that, is it okay to tell you everything in front of your daughters?
Yes.
Okay. Because your husband says to me, Matt, my wife feels like every single day she's just going through life, but she's not really living it since I died.
That is.
And he tells me that you feel like you're holding on for one reason, and that's for your daughters. But your husband says to me that he wants you not to just hold on. He wants you to enjoy life. That's what he tells me. Because he says, Matt, he says, can you tell my wife, he says, that when I was here, he goes, I worked like a friggin' animal. He says, I worked like a dog. He says, and I worked so hard for one reason. He says, because I wanted to make sure that if anything were to happen to me, that my family was taken care of, that you were taken care of. He says, and I worked so hard so that you could live a beautiful life. Do you understand that?
Yes.
He tells me that when he was alive, he never worried about the girls because he had you. He never worried about if what was being taken care of with them. He made sure that there was money on the table, food on the table, that everybody was taken care of. He says, and when I had time away, he goes, I spent time with you. He says, but Matt, I told everybody when I was alive, I had a wonderful wife. She took care of everything for me.
Yeah.
He says, and when your husband died, he left knowing that your girls were going to be okay, the family was going to be okay, that you were going to have enough money, that you were going to be taken care of, he tells me. He says, so Matt, he says, you tell my wife, don't disappoint me. He says, you tell her to enjoy every moment. If the girls want to go on vacation, you take them on vacation. If they want to take them to eat, you go to eat. He says, and if you want to go to the goddamn casino, go to the casino.
Yes.
That's what your husband's telling me. He says, because what he wants you to know is this. And he says to me, Matt, and by the way, were you like a little bit younger than him, but not a lot?
Yeah, just 1 year.
He tells me, because he tells me he used to always say you were young, and you're like, we're the same age. We're just a couple months apart. He says to me, Matt, he goes, you tell my wife that she's still young. He says, she's still got a lot of pep in her step. He says, and I want her to enjoy these years, he tells me. Because I see you just looking at pictures of your husband and crying and saying, I just want to be with him. I just want to see him again. He says to me, I am okay. I'm fine. He says, but I need you to be okay, he tells me. He says to me, and Matt, he says, you need to tell my wife, he says, to stop with the bullshit. He's pissed at you, by the way. He says to me, and he says, hold on, I'm trying to figure out what he's telling me. Okay.
He's a mess.
Wait a minute. Did you go and just like try to give away like things to your daughters, like things from the house, or like, I don't know if it looks like you were trying to give them either plates or some type of like cookware.
Yeah.
You've been trying to give away some plates.
He says, do not accept those plates from your mother. Do not take those plates. You give them back because she doesn't want to cook anymore, he tells me. She doesn't want to do like the holidays anymore. And she's trying to get you to do it. He says to me, just because I die doesn't mean that she has to stop her responsibility, he tells me. He says, you're not allowed to take any recipes, any plates until, he says that's until after she dies. He goes, until then, he says that you still have to keep the family together. You still have to do the holidays, and your girls rely on you. He says, and know that every holiday that you do, anytime that you cook, anytime that you make things, your husband's still with you. And you say all the time, I feel like I don't have to cook anymore because he's not here. I feel like I don't have to do this because he's not here. And your husband says to me, he goes, how do you think I feel? I'm there and with you when I hear these statements. He goes, might not be able to see me, but I hear what you're saying. And he's bringing that through.
I love that.
Yeah.
He wants you all to know this. Just because you don't see your dad with you, he is still family with you, and you're still a family. He says, so don't change anything since I died. He says, I want you to know that every day that goes by, I am forever by your side, and I will always, always, always be watching over you. You know, anything that you go through in life, he's there and by your side, and I'm going to leave you with that.